ball onto the track, at the wall, it's gone! Home run!
Turns on a ball, deep right field, and gone!
What a game, what a moment. What is up, everybody? Welcome into this Tuesday bonus edition of Flippin Bats, where we're going to talk all things Shohei Ohtani. We got This Week in Shohei Ohtani news, and as always, I am joined by Alex Curry. Alex, love the jersey. We're still rolling strong with these things.
There was a point where we're like, are we going to have to change our Tuesday This Week in Shohei Ohtani news outfits because we wear the same thing every week?
I've worn a couple different.
Oh, not me. I wash it, though.
Yeah, like that's why I've worn a couple
every couple of weeks. It's like an OG, old school California Angels.
I like
jersey.
that a lot.
There you go.
But we're here to talk some Shohei. So let's talk Shohei and my favorite segment of all time. This week in Shohei Ohtani news, we're going to talk about his 40th home run on the season, his continued dominance on the mound of late. We're also going to talk about a pretty emotional loss that appeared for Shohei and the Angels the other night, as well as a quote from him discussing why he doesn't feel like he can take any games off at this point in the season. So, Alex, let's start with his 40th home run on the season. The first to get there, the only to get there so far, 40 homers. It was an absolute rocket. And it was 40 home runs. He is on pace for well over 50 at this point. Pretty remarkable.
I mean, it was incredible. His last outing as well. He pitched on Thursday. Yeah. The 4 no-hit innings. But then, of course, as the Angels do sometimes, they just completely blew the game in the 9th inning.
Oh, it was one of those days. It was a day where Shohei Ohtani throws 4 scoreless innings, strikes out 4 guys, goes 2 for 2 at the plate, gets walked twice, hits a homer, drives in a run, and the Angels lose on a grand slam in the 9th inning.
I think I texted you right after, like, what just happened?
It really is like
what just happened?
Yeah, there was my tweet. I won't read it. It was literally what I just said.
Okay.
So, but it's a little alarming. I don't understand. It's crazy. I don't know. It's not bad luck. Just bad fortune. Are those the same thing? I don't know. It feels slightly different.
No, I mean, you kind of had the feeling it was going that way in the 9th inning. Then bases get loaded. Yeah. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. And then there it goes.
Their closer he was perfect. He hadn't blown a save all year. So it's not his fault. It's not Phil Nevin's fault for throwing him out there when it's just one of those things with the Angels these days. It just feels like, when things could possibly turn around and you need this big win to stay in it, the worst possible scenario happens. But it was a great game for him. His 40th homer. He did throw 4 scoreless innings, meaning he's thrown 13 scoreless innings in a row at this point. And since July 25th, so about 2 weeks ago, he has an ERA of 0.00, which not sure if you've heard, but that's pretty good.
That's perfect.
Among qualified starters, that is the best. And second is Steven Matz, 0.50. So he's been dominant when he's able to stay out there. But he did have to come to get taken out of that game after, again, flaring up with some, he's been dealing with the fingernail, the cramping. Mm-hmm. And I think that was cramping is why he came out.
Yeah.
So I think it was in his hand. Either way, just dominant when he's out there. He just needs to, we just talked about this in the earlier episode today. You got to figure out a way to keep him out there.
Also give him a day. He is this team. And I think the hardest thing for me as an Angel fan, I know Angel fans out there, it's all of his great things that he keeps doing and milestones that he keeps hitting get overshadowed by the fact that this team can't pull through and win games. They, entering this week after the trade deadline, had lost 6 straight, had not won a single game since deciding to keep Shohei Ohtani.
I do wish he was doing what he's doing as the MVP this year in at least a playoff spot or right on the cusp of it, because the conversation does become look what happened to the Angels again, instead of look at this game Shohei just had.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because,
it's overshadowed.
Because we're seeing the greatest player of all time do some of the greatest things in the history of baseball, But like you said, it gets overshadowed when people want to laugh and point fingers at the Angels and saying, the Angels always end up doing this, and laugh at them for the decision they made at the trade deadline. And everything that comes out of it is just frustrating because I feel like we're not as focused on what he's actually doing.
I mean, how can you? They're falling further and further out of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
And the only way that they're going to be able to keep Shohei Ohtani, who becomes a free agent at the end of this regular season, is if they get into that wild card race. He wants to win. He has said that numerous times. That is his number one goal.
It really is wild that they go out and make all of these big moves at the trade deadline. And they're like, all right, Shohei's off the block. We are going for it. And then at the start of this week, they still had not yet won a game since that trade deadline. That's not good.
No.
That is really not good. And the way they've lost some of the games, you saw the one Sunday, the extra innings game, they couldn't pull it out. The one that we were just talking about with the grand slam given up in the ninth. And they just keep falling further and further out of this playoff race. And, at this point, I know there's still 2 months left. There is still plenty of time. But at this point, you're going to have to play ridiculously good baseball.
Perfect baseball.
Yeah, you can't afford to have any losses. The games you're supposed to win, you got to win.
Yeah.
And you can't afford to have losses like you did the other night. Or we're going to be again talking about the Angels not making the playoffs and potentially the last 2 months of Shohei Ohtani playing for the Angels.
And we've saw a couple videos and photos surface and tweets of Shohei looking emotional after losing some of these games, and rightfully so. He should be frustrated. He wants to win, and this team should be winning.
Yeah, this was, if you're watching, you can see the video now. But yeah, it just looks like a guy that is giving his absolute all for his team. Everything that his body is capable of giving right now, he is doing it. And I don't think he's mad or frustrated at his teammates. I think it's just like a frustrating situation to be going as hard as you are and to have a game end like that. And that home run, that grand slam happens in the ninth. And that's the look on his face of, man, I'm giving my all. All I want to do is play playoff baseball. And it just, for whatever reason, one reason or another, it just doesn't seem to be happening for the Angels.
I just can't even imagine being the best player in the game, basically being the best player in every category on your team, and then not being able to win games. Like, that has to be such a frustrating feeling.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it is. It is frustrating for him. You can tell. But I really do think I think if Shohei could pick, he would want to win with the Angels.
Well, yeah, he's a loyal guy.
So I think there's just a lot going through his head these days. And I don't think in that moment he's thinking like, man, we might miss the playoffs and I'm going to have to go to a new team. No, I think it's just like everything hitting at once of, man, we fight our asses off on this team, and there's always something that happens. Something.
And it's different every time.
And it's different every single time. And for it to happen that way the other night, it just, you could see the emotion on his face. Yeah. For sure.
But everyone still loves Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
And we actually saw a pretty cool celebrity rocking one of his jerseys.
Yeah. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
Drake's a big deal,
He's a big deal.
Drake.
He's a big deal.
And he was rocking Shohei's jersey the other night. Not sure where he was, but saw the video of it. He was rocking Shohei's All-Star Game jersey, which is so cool for the sport, by the way. Like, Drake often walks around with basketball jerseys on. Yeah. He's at basketball games. He'll rep different players. But for him to have a baseball jersey on, I think is just... this is what I tweeted. Drake out here rocking a Shohei Ohtani jersey. Baseball is having an absolute moment right now. And it is. Every single day, every single weekend, I find myself tweeting the newest update about how baseball is doing something that hasn't been done since this weekend. It was something, the attendance record broke something that hasn't been done since 2004. Every single weekend, we're talking about how good baseball attendance is. And now we have Drake out there, who people can say this is dumb and a ridiculous thing to bring up. But when you have a superstar and one of the most famous people in the entire world rocking a baseball jersey and rocking Shohei Ohtani's jersey, that is massive for the game of baseball. And there's really no other way to put that. It really is big.
Now, could you imagine if all this was happening and the Angels were a winning team or Shohei was on a winning team.
Would love that.
Like, insane.
I would love that. I would love to see
I think
that.
the sports world would love that. He deserves to be playing in the postseason.
Yep,
Bottom
absolutely.
line. We believe in you, Angels. Let's do it. Come on. Yeah?
Do we? I want to believe.
I'm giving hope, okay? This is like,
no, I want them.
he's here for like the rest of the regular season, so do it.
I want
Make the
Shohei
postseason.
and Mike Trout in the playoffs more than anything.
Yeah.
I really do. Well,
Same.
more than anything might be. I want them really badly in the playoffs, and I hope it happens. But
in baseball, it is a top thing that you want to see happen.
But with what's happening now with the team and, you know, Shohei giving his all, we were just talking about it, but, you know, he was asked about the cramping and the stuff happening after the game the other day, and he was quoted as saying, games that I could take off, I really don't think there are any more games like that. Fatigue, he said fatigue is number one, I think. Why is Shohei Ohtani cramping so often? Fatigue. But he still wants to play every day, and that's when he said, games that I could take off, I really don't think there are any more games like that. And I don't disagree with that. And I get what you were saying of, you got to find a day, maybe a night game followed by an off day, or a day game followed by an off day. But
if it's fatigue, the only thing that's going to help it is rest. You got to figure out a way to give them 2 days. You have a day off. Well, no, I think he's pitching the day before their day off this week. He pitches Wednesday, tomorrow, and then they have an off day Thursday. So it's like he doesn't even get that kind of back-to-back rest.
Right.
It's tough.
It's a tough position to be in, but he is still doing his thing. 40 homers on the season now. First player in baseball to get to 40 this year. Matt Olson is hot on his heels, by the way. He is raking for the Braves, and that lineup is so good. There ain't no pitching around anybody in that Braves lineup because the next guy behind you is really, really good. And Shohei is getting pitched around quite often these days. So we'll see what happens there, but I do think we're in for quite the home run race, and he is at 40, got to that 40 mark. Woo! What a year he continues to have. So that does it for my favorite segment this week in Shohei Ohtani news. And Alex, that also does it for this bonus episode. I'm excited for Thursday. Thursday, we get to hear all about Alex's experience at the Taylor Swift concert. So make sure you listen to that. It's sure to be interesting. Thank you all for listening to this bonus edition of Flippin Bats. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen to your podcast. Please follow, subscribe, whatever you do. We're also on all social media, including YouTube, where you can watch every single thing we do at Flippin Bats Pod for all the socials there. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, this has been another episode of Flippin Bats. Peace.